Hello and welcome to Heavenly Album Covers. We are going to take a deep diving look at a greatest hits album by world-renowned musician and very famous person Jose Feliciano, and we're going to look at his album, which is called Encore with an exclamation point. This album is called Encore, Jose Feliciano's finest performances, including Light My Fire, California Dreamin', and Rain, among several others. And it may be difficult for some people to make out this album cover, but it is one of the most beautiful album covers we have seen in our entire history of Heavenly album covers. It's just a really beautiful cover, and we will look very much more closely at it as this episode meanders on. And this album came out in 1971. It's kind of a greatest hits. I'm thinking that it probably also has some new songs, maybe a couple of new songs that Jose Feliciano recorded for this album. This cover is embossed, and it's basically an entirely white and off-white cover, except for this golden lettering here. And let's talk briefly about Jose Feliciano. Some people might not know who he is, but most people know who he is. And here's Jose Feliciano, and he was born Jose Feliciano Garcia in 1945. I'm going to kind of rock him like that just to keep everyone's interest. He was born in 1945. He's 79 years old now. He still tours assiduously, and he was born in Puerto Rico, raised in a family of 11 sons in Puerto Rico. He was somewhat of a prodigy. He played percussion early on and then moved to guitar. He made his debut stage appearance at the age of 5 years old. Jose Feliciano is also known for his Christmas song, Feliz Navidad, which was recorded in 1970. Feliz Navidad is not on this album. I'm not sure why. I don't think Feliz Navidad was a hit until much later, but Jose Feliciano was raised in Puerto Rico. He was born without sight, and he plays guitar and other instruments. And as I mentioned, he's still touring. And let's look at this album a little more closely. Jose Feliciano was absolutely huge in the 1960s. He was everywhere. He released all sorts of albums. You can find Jose Feliciano albums everywhere in the world. He, I don't know exactly how many albums he's released, but it's in the 30s or 40s, I would think, of the number of albums he's released, recorded and released. And this album cover, I found it in a big, ugly, dusty, dirty box of records. I can't recall exactly where I found it or where the box was, but I do remember plucking this out of this dirty box, and I was amazed at the time. This was only a few weeks ago. I was amazed to find that this album and the album cover were in absolutely pristine, immaculate condition. This album looks like it's never been touched by human people. In fact, I don't really want to touch it now. I'm kind of making sure my fingertips are tidy. And but I'm going to move the light around so you can see somewhat the embossing on here. This image is a guitar with strings down here. There's the place where the strings are held here. There's the sound hole. There's the contour of the guitar. Up here is the lettering, ENCORE, exclamation point, Encore, Jose Feliciano's finest performances. And this is embossed. This is an embossed cover. Now, embossing is, it's a process. It's kind of a simple process, but as you can see with this cover, it's a very delicate process, and it involves a design on a metal plate, and that plate is pressed into paper stock. So that's what this is. This is the result of a large metal plate being pressed into some paper. And let's look on the other side. I don't want to touch this, it's just so perfect. And the flip side is, whoops, trying not to mess it up. I don't want to get coffee or anything on it. I can put some more light on it. We have a simple early drawing of Jose Feliciano. This whole album was produced by Rick Gerard, who also produced Harry Nilsson and the Jefferson Airplane. And this is on RCA Dynaflex. It's in stereo, LSPX 1005. And there's some very early Jose Feliciano tracks here, like High Heel Sneakers, Rain is a great song. Susie Q, Wichita Lineman. His version of California Dreamin' is very well known, as is his version of The Doors' Light My Fire. Jose Feliciano, early in his career, he played like rock and roll blues, kind of pop blues, and he's able to play any type of music that exists. And the cover design for this beautiful album, you can see the embossing here. You can see the edges of the embossing plate. We'll look at that a little more closely in a second. The art director for this was A.C. Lehman, who designed many other album covers, and the designer for this was Frank Mulvey. And so they put together a great album cover. Of course, this reminds us of the Beatles' White album cover, but I almost think that this is outstandingly more beautiful than the White album cover. But that's just me. It's just, it's very simple, very direct, and very good. And as we wrap this up, let's look at the embossing from several directions. This is on the, even the inner sleeve is just like untouched. I think this copy came from outer space. It was left here by sacred priests of record albums. The album hasn't been played either. I was very surprised that this was in a dirty box of records. You can see the RCA logo is printed very faintly here in the corner. There's some minor little top edge bends, but there's the, I think the, oh, there we go. The embossing can be seen better upside down like this. That's actually like a three-dimensional effect there. That's paper that's been smooshed together. There's the guitar part. You can see the ridges. Just really incredible, really. I don't want to even look at this record because it's just really nice. And so I think that does it for Encore, Jose Feliciano's finest performances, including Light My Fire, California Dreamin', and Rain.